do you want to do in order to reach your place of healing? You might So, as I was preparing for tonight's session and I was in prayer, I really asked God to give me a scripture for us to go through. And the scripture is from Luke 17, verse 14. When he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. I got really excited, and I had put in my notes that before I went into teaching, I was going to explain the healing journey. And I really felt oppressed in my spirit to walk with people and provide education around healing. So many times I hear people say, "I want to heal. I'm never going to be able to heal. I'm broken." And God really put a burning in my spirit to say that we can start this healing journey. We can start it together. You can heal. You shall be healed. And so that's what the healing journey is. The healing journey is just information about how to start the process, how to break it down, how to make healing something that you can achieve, you can obtain by small steps. Sometimes I hear people say, "I want to heal," and that feels so overwhelming because of what they've gone through. And so when we can break it down and make it really specific, then people have the motivation they need to keep going when times get difficult. Okay, so welcome to the healing journey. Now back to Luke 17:14. And the whole theme of tonight is, as you go, you will be healed. That is what we're doing. We're on this healing journey and we're going. And as we take each step, as you watch the lives, as you come in each week, as you do the healing assignments, as you share, as you rewatch, you are going to be healed. But you have to take the step, just like those leopards. As soon as they took the step, that's when the healing began. And so you're already here because you took the step. So I'm excited. Today, we're talking about actions and we're going to start with what? What do you mean? What do you mean, Dr. Fraser? What? I mean, we're going to start with what action steps. So every question today is connected to the idea of what. And what's most important is when we're answering these questions that I'm going to give you, when we're thinking about what as an action step, it needs to be so personal. Sometimes when people are getting ready to heal, they include others in their definition. Well, to heal, I need this person to apologize. Mm-hmm. To heal, I need this person to change. To heal, I need more of this. To heal, I need more of that. But it's all of these external things. Tonight, we're going to focus on the personal step. Because like we read in that scripture, Luke 17:14, the personal steps that each leper took, that's what healed them, their faith and their personal steps. So if you got the faith that you're going to heal and you have your own personal steps, then you're going to get healed as you go. But if one of those lepers had stopped and said, "You know what, I'm going to wait until the people that isolated me, the people that told me I had to be in this colony by myself, till they come back, till they see me, till they acknowledge that I'm healed," then they would have never been healed. So that is why we're doing very personal what steps. The first question for our healing journey around action steps and what do you want to do in order to reach your place of healing? Again, I'll read that question again. What do you want to do in order to reach your place of healing? You might be saying, "Dr. Fraser, like, what kind of question is that? Like, I just want to be healed." We need to know what we want to do because that's where our motivation is. What do you need to do in order to reach your place of healing? So usually when we think about healing, we don't like the word should or need because they have a lot of pressure behind them. But in this situation, as we're creating our action steps, there are some things that we actually need to do. And if we use my example that I gave about perfectionism, but God had also given me this example about if you want to get your license, if a part of your healing process is, "I want to get my license," One of the things you need to do is you need to go to driving school, right? We can't just come out here and say, I can drive because somebody taught me in their backyard. We have rules, we have laws, we have regulations. And so one of those needs is you need to go to driving school. It's the same thing with healing. What are the things you know that you need to do? So for some of you, what you need to do is get rid of the mindset. It could be a mindset of rejection. You aren't loved because somebody wasn't there, because they never chose you, because they didn't show up, because they wanted to abort you, because they didn't stay in the marriage with you. All of these things that could be a part of that rejection mindset, or that mindset, I'm too old to heal, I'm stuck in my ways, I'm always going to be this way. Mindset that needs to go. The other thing is learning about your identity. If you have a mindset that is connected to rejection, connected to perfectionism, connected to I can't, connected to fear, how do we build a new identity for ourselves so that we can heal? And identity is something I'm super excited to teach about, and I think that that's going to be the next series of lessons that God gives me, particularly around who he says we are and who we are in God. Because once our identity is locked into being a child of God, then there is no space for rejection. There's no space for fear. There is no space for anxiety because there's so much love. And so what do you need to do? You got to discard that mindset, that filter that tells you you can't, you won't, you stuck. It's not that bad. Oh, that's a minimizing mindset. Let's go ahead and let that one go tonight too. You need to let that one go. And that's not to say that sometimes we don't need to take a step back and not be overwhelmed in response, but sometimes we do minimize things. So minimizing self-care, minimizing how someone's behavior impacted us, that can really hurt us as we're trying to heal, because we're walking. We're like those leopards. Some of us, people can see it on the outside of us, but some of us is buried deep down inside. But we have to get ready to walk, because we are going to heal. But we have to walk out the steps. So and I'm praying right now, even in this moment as I'm speaking, that God begins to download to everybody on this live right now the mindsets that you need to let go of. The mindsets that if you're not perfect, you won't be loved. That if you make a mistake, nobody will ever trust you. That you're not worthy. And I'm just going to sit that one out there right now, because there's somebody on this live that grew up hearing that they weren't worthy. And that's a lie. That's a lie, and that's a mindset that we send to the pits of hell because it's not true. So what do you need to do? You need to come out of agreement with that mindset. That's the mindset that you need to let go. Because if these lepers, as they were walking, if they had kept the mindset that they weren't healed, then they wouldn't have been healed, because it was their faith and their action steps. They would have stopped. They would have sat down. They would have just said, this is never going to work. But they had that mindset of, they were no longer lepers in their minds. They were already healed. Step 3, what are you willing to do? We talked about what you want to do. We talked about what we need to do, right? There are some things we need to do. What are you willing to do? And that's really important, because if there's no willingness, then there can be no healing. All of those lepers were willing to walk. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to have difficult conversations? Are you willing to sit down and say, these are the mindsets that I need to let go of? Really depends on you, but it's important that as I'm talking about these, you really begin to write down the answers. What are you willing? Without pressure, without guilt, without shame. Oh, that's another mindset we need to let go too. That shame mindset. We all fall, we all stumble, we all make mistakes. Shame is not an identity. Shame is a lie, and we can go ahead and rebuke that lie. Let that shame go. But what are you willing to do? Are you willing to forgive yourself? Are you willing to forgive those who harmed you? Are you willing to do something different? Yes, we could say how things are and how they've been, and it's been this way for her and him and everybody in my family. But are you willing to stand up and say, I'm willing to do something different? 4, what do you need to stop doing to reach your place of healing? I hate to have 2 negatives in there, but I really wanted to say it this way. There are some things that we have to stop doing if we are going to be healed. Can you just imagine right now with me what it would feel like to be in that place where you didn't feel rejected, where you didn't feel ashamed, where you didn't feel like you weren't good enough, where you didn't have fear that was crippling, where you weren't procrastinating, where you were in this space and all of those giants were defeated in your life and you were just enjoying that piece of healing, where you didn't feel like it was too late. And that's where we're going. Bring that up in your mind, because this is how we're going to get there. If you are willing to be healed, then you're willing to do some of these steps. That's why I really thank God for giving me Luke 17:14, because the lepers, they cried out. They were willing to do that. They weren't too broken. They weren't too ashamed. They were willing to crawl out. And then when they heard what they needed to do, they were willing to do it. So we start with willingness, then we're able to move to what we want, and then that gives us the strength and the power to move to what we need to do. We have everything we need to heal. How beautiful is that? We do. We have it inside of us. And that's why I feel like God put this burden inside of me, because we have everything that we need to heal within us. We just need to start walking. Walking, and we will get healed. Do the work. And as you do the work, the healing will come. That's why we're getting real. With me, it's let's get real so we can heal. Let's be real. We're broken. Everybody's had something happen to them that's broken them. Everyone. Maybe you don't feel quote unquote completely broken, or if you want to put language on it, like 20%, 100%. Everyone has had something that has really harmed them and has really taken them away from their identity. And if we get stuck in the lie of the enemy, we'll believe that we have to stay there. But I'm here to say the truth of the Lord, and that is that we are healed. So just like those lepers who had a disease that they didn't know if would ever be healed, we are on our journey, walking towards our healing. We are not broken anymore. So I just really want to encourage people, you are healed. You are healed. Walk it out.